Welcome to Own the Chaos. The stock market is crazy and chaotic.
And crash. You son of
Oh, God. Hold on. Pause.
Brad and Fat Man Zoom are here to help you own it.
They were targeting Wall Street when they should have been targeting Capitol Hill. They should have been targeting DC. This is the same thing, and this is what people keep missing.
Taking it to the suits, being relatable and hilarious.
You bought GameStop at 400, didn't you? To the moon, baby. To the moon.
Get ready to own the chaos in 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. Fat Man Zoom is back in the house. The stock market is crazy and chaotic. We made it our mission to help you guys own it. Fat Man Zoom.
Back.
Kick us off with the starting five, my man.
We got Funny Pranks Gone Wrong, team coaching Rudy Brown, Sam Cisneros, sorry guys, Sam Cisneros and Jeff Panika. Got a little rust, got to dust off the rust. That's our starting five. Thanks guys for tuning in. It is not the top five.
It's not.
I got you guys. Don't worry about that. We got a lot to talk about. You had 2 days left to your own devices and shit just hit the fan.
Only a little bit. Only a little bit.
I took notes. I'm prepared for the day. And since I've been gone, I'm sort of guiding the ship today. If you guys have never been here before, welcome to Own the Chaos. We've made it our mission to help you own the chaos, which some of you guys have questions about. But it's been good chaos, Brad. How's your account looking?
Hell yeah, my account is way up today. Lots of great news coming out from all over the place, and my whole account is rocking and rolling.
I want to start. We're just going to shoot the shit today.
All right, let's do it.
I took some notes from your solo show. I just did yesterday's. I didn't do the one before that. So if you guys aren't aware, I was out of town. I was in Florida the past 2 days and just got back. So Brad was running the show, which is how he used to do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is what it is. Let's start off. First off, you nailed the starting five until you didn't. You got it, and then you didn't.
Yes.
That was hilarious. You're like, starting five, you're so happy for yourself.
And then I said top five right after that.
Yeah. I was laughing about that. And I know you guys are asking douchebag of the day. We'll just get that out. No way that happens. Oh, I meant to tell you. Hold on. We got to mute. How do I mute? Do I mute our mics like this? Yes. All right, so we have
Cone of silence. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, there was this, I meant to talk to him about it off air. So, douchebag of the day, I'm sorry, bro. I know you really want it to happen, but it's just going to encourage too much trollship.
Fine.
Right, Rob T? You and I agree on this, Rob T. I know people love it, and I know people are not going to like that decision. And I personally have talked about clowns.
Yes.
But it's not a daily occurrence.
Yes.
Maybe douchebag of the month.
You're very well known for your rants, okay? It's not very often that I have mine.
True.
So I just need to blow off some steam.
You want to do one every day. Douchebag of the day. That's a lot.
Yeah, I just was thinking like more so. Like today, there was no douchebags. Yeah, like when it happened.
Okay. I'm maybe open to that. Douche of the day. All right. We'll talk more about it. I'm not saying no. Because there are some people. Thanks, Claudia. It's good to be back. Wish goes up. Wish goes up. He comes back. It dips. I was here all day, friend.
Wish, yeah. So Wish was a great grab. I'm so happy with my Wish trade right now.
Yeah, we need to talk about Wish and Clover because that's something that I do want to talk about. Just in the sense of like you're trading it off of just momentum and hype. I'm trading Clover off of and invested in Clover off of my belief in the stock, and just so happens there was hype behind it.
Correct.
But I wasn't looking for that.
Right.
So the trading philosophy is very much different.
Absolutely.
You mentioned that I do have a ton of Clove. I still do have a ton of Clove, and I am on free shares for the majority of it in 3 of my accounts. And yes, it is over 5 figures. That is new information that we haven't told anybody. But yes, you are correct in that. But more importantly, I had a huge disagreement with you, and you're not going to like this. I don't think that Maryland flag is the number 1 flag. I'm going to give you my top 5.
Of this in the states?
Out of all the states, I have listed my top 5 state rankings.
That's fine.
Flags.
I respect you, but you're wrong.
And I live in Maryland, so I feel like I'm being reasonable and fair.
Were you born? You weren't born and raised. Well, yeah.
When I was born in D.C., technically the hospital was Walter Reed in D.C., but I lived in Maryland.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So I was living in Maryland.
Yeah.
So in some ways, I was born in Maryland, but I did not grow up here. But it's my home. I have a ton of respect for Maryland. This is just looking at the flag. I'm not considering the states. So don't be state hating right now. Number 5.
This is in order of succession?
Yeah, reverse order.
Okay.
5 is Arizona. Number 4, you probably should just Google it, look at it, because you'll probably be surprised at what they look like. New Mexico.
I know what Arizona's looks like. I don't think I know
really
what
cool
New Mexico's looks like.
It's very simple. It's cool. It's just a symbol. It's yellow, but this is red symbol. Really cool. Number 3 is Rhode Island, coming in hot. Number 2 is Maryland. Number 1, I think the coolest flag is California.
What? Really? California?
Yeah, and it's on. I mean, it even looks cool on swag. It's got to be California.
The Californians are very happy with you right now.
But what I did that's even better is I also did the 5 worst flags. And you guys should Google these flags because I actually never saw these before.
Is Texas on there?
No. Texas is simple.
Yeah, Texas is fine.
But these are ones that look like I could have done better on Word clip art.
Yeah, Jeff's happy.
So the 5
Jeff and Daniel, I'm sure you're very happy at this point.
The bottom 5 are Minnesota, Maine, Delaware has a god-awful flag, and I didn't realize that. Bad. Montana and Louisiana. Louisiana is like a pelican and like 5 baby pelicans getting fed. It's like really awkward.
Rudy Brown, sorry, man.
So those are the bottom 5. I think my top 5's pretty solid. If I know some of you guys are going to be hating. You tell me what's better. I look through all of them.
JB Smith says Washington's is ugly.
Yeah. Jeff Chow, thank you, California. But you're in California, aren't you? Isn't he in California?
One of our biggest demographics is California, so I guess it's only proper that we
It's
put.
pretty sweet, man. It's pretty sweet. Moving on.
What it has meaning.
What's that?
Rudy Brown says it has meaning. It can have meaning, but it can still be ugly, bro.
What's that, Louisiana?
Yeah.
Oh, it's god awful. It's pretty bad. It's not the worst, but it's pretty damn bad.
Yeah.
Definitely in the bottom for sure. The other thing is, Rob T mentioned that the best barbecue he had in Baltimore was next to a strip club. Most people don't know what the Block is, but it is not a strip club on the block.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Block is next to the Inner Harbor. It's Baltimore Street, and it's basically
All
a
strip
block
clubs.
of strip clubs, and
Yeah.
they're not very savory.
No.
It is actually next to the Gold Club, and I know exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about Chap's Pit Beef. Have you ever been to
Oh,
Chap's
yeah,
Pit
yeah,
Beef?
yeah, yeah.
It's in the parking lot.
Yes. I
of
forgot
the strip
about you.
club.
Yeah.
So Rob T, that is the place you were talking about 100%, and it is hella good.
It is.
And if you look at the reviews, they're hella good too.
Yeah.
So it's like legit good. Some of the best beef you'll have, certainly in Baltimore City.
Some of the best food in Baltimore City is in like sketchy places.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know if Rob T is here. He is here.
Ibar
There
was.
you go, man. It was Chaps. That's the place you were talking about.
Yep. Yeah, there he is. He said yes. That's
I got
it.
you, brother. I know it is. Not that I've been there, but you know. But I knew once you said I had really poor reception on the flights. I was like, I want to type it, but it wasn't working for me. I want to talk about Tesla. And there's a lot to go over with Tesla. Before Tesla talk, I had an epiphany, and I want to share this on live for everybody, and I want to get your thoughts. And it's about some of the hate that we've been getting. Well, you've been getting into the mix. In our Discord, you've been freaking, gloves have been off.
I'm just sick of the shit, man.
And there's this like, it's just a small group. It's a very small subset of people. And like, there's not disrespect. There's not targeted about anybody. But like, there are people on our channel and there are people on Discord that have strong feelings on certain things, and a lot of it revolves around historical picks, and it's like they're blaming us for their picks. First off, you guys pushed the buy sell button.
Yes.
So like, I love getting the compliments when we do pick a good stock and you do well, but you should take credit for the wins, and you should for damn sure take credit for the losses. But one of my thoughts was like, why does that happen? And I'll give specific stocks. Rocket and Clover, those are probably the ones people come at us the most. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
My first thought to this is, how the hell did you lose money on Rocket and Clover? That's my question.
Yeah.
Anybody that was in it, how the hell did you lose money on Rocket and Clover? And so my thought was, the reason why you're so upset is you got there's a lot of emotion tied to it, is you probably heard something we said, whether it's high conviction for you or high conviction for me, and you went all in. And you got greedy, and it ran up when we started scaling out, and you decided not only did you over leverage yourself, but on top of that, you bag held because you thought it could go further. And we've talked about the risk associated with things.
Yeah.
It was damn near impossible for you not to make money on Rocket or Clover if you were paying any sort of attention.
When we called it, all
and
that
if you weren't greedy. And the problem is, you're greedy. So don't get mad at us if your ass is greedy. And I would imagine as it went down, and Clover's the perfect example of it, but the same thing happened with Rocket. As it went down, you kept thinking about the money you did have unrealized.
And want it back.
You wanted to get back. And so you watched that thing bleed dry. The reason why I wanted to bring this up is I want to break down my Rocket P&L, because I have not looked at this, but I looked at this before we came on, and I wish you could share this on your screen, but maybe with level 3 we'll do this. But in Webull, I looked at my trading records, and I'm going to play this out. I'm going to try to explain this the best, so hopefully you can follow along without a visual. So at the time, Rocket was the first stock I bought in my account, in this public account.
Yeah.
So it's long term. I started it December 1st. I bought Rocket on December 2nd, and at the time, my max position size was 1,000, and I actually went all in on it. So I got 50 shares at $20, $20.05. It went up a month and a half later on January 27th. It went up to $24.88. It went up past it, but I trimmed 10 shares, 20%. Okay, so I had 50 shares. I sold 10. at $24.88. That's what, a 20% gain. Like we talk about.
Yeah.
Scale in, scale out. A week later, it went down to $21, and I bought back those 10 shares. Right?
Yep.
Made money, back in, I'm back full position size. Then I ended up selling everything. So in March, a month later, I sold 20 shares at $28.50, almost half of my position. Another 20 shares at $25.19 as it was coming down. And I sold the remaining shares at $25.07, so about the same amount. And I did that over the course of 3 days. So I'm out.
Yeah.
And at that point, again, remember my initial entry price was $20.05. And so my average was probably $20.50 because I had scaled back in, probably a little less. And so I'm out. A month later, I get back in at $22. It comes back down. I buy 10 shares. It starts going up. I buy 10 more shares. And then I sell out. And I actually sold for a loss for 2 reasons. One was because that's when shit just hit the fan.
Yep.
And I was over leveraged and I was in too much tech and I just had to bite the bullet. I didn't want to sell at $19.50, but I did because I had to rebalance. It ended up being a good decision to rebalance as a whole. And Rocket's sitting at $20, so I'm at the same amount anyways. I ought to just been sideways. But my point is, I didn't even realize it, but it played perfectly to what we talk about. You scale in, scale out. It goes up, it goes down. It gets treated as a new trade, whatever. But my point is that we're practicing what we preach. And so Rocket was a perfect example. And Rocket, I'm going to tell you my top 5 profit stocks since I've had this account. Clover's number 1. I've made the most money off of Clover, and I'm still in it. I still made the most money off of it. Drive Shack's number 2, my 2 highest conviction stocks.
Yeah.
Rocket's number 3. So before Clover and Drive Shack went off, Rocket was number 1, Tesla and Facebook. So my point, guys, is like, you got to do the buying and selling. We're having fun. We're having conversations and we're doing the best. But like, because we say we have high conviction on the stock doesn't mean that the stock's going to just go to the moon.
Yeah. Or that you should go all in.
Or that you should go all in.
Got to check the Greedo meter, man.
Yeah. So anyways, I just wanted to point that out because I feel like people are back holding and people are over leveraging themselves. Just because I have 100% in Clover doesn't mean I'm going to go all in. I still have my fundamentals, and we've been victim to this. You have high conviction and you over leverage yourself. We've gotten bit by the bullet, each of us separately.
Yep.
And our community some people seem to be falling victim to that as well. I understand it's hard, but even if you have high conviction, nothing is ever a sure bet. You never know what's going to happen, and so the risk isn't worth it. So I just wanted to say that. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I just mentioned the Greedo meter. Everybody has their own, and need to keep it in check. Starts to get to a certain point, you got to be like, listen, this has happened to me before. The crazy part is that people repeat this process.
Yeah.
You know, they get burned and burned and burned, and then they continue to do it. And the sad part is that those are the people that end up leaving the market for good. And it's bad for us. It's bad for the market in general because you never see them again. And it was basically because they just couldn't help themselves. So if you have a gambling problem or whatever, obviously that maybe this shouldn't be for you and you should just have a professional take care of your investments. But I mean, at the end of the day, we're messing around with money that we could afford to lose, and we're not going to be left out on the street. If that's not you, then you need to check yourself.
So I have a message and I have an announcement. A message to all the haters that say things look like Rocket stock. Right? Oh, it looks like Rocket.
You get that all the time, yes.
Here's a message to you. I hope to God it looks like Rocket because Rocket has been my third most profitable trade that I've made to date. That's my message to you. So if it looks like Rocket, I may consider getting in.
Yes.
Number 2 is the announcement. I'm getting back into Rocket. Motherfuckers. Okay, what y'all say? It's been too good to me. I'm getting back into Rocket. I'm done.
Shit, that's hilarious. Now you got to tell us why you're getting back into Rocket.
I mean, the thesis is still the same on Rocket.
Yeah.
The only reason I stopped looking at it is honestly because of just the hate and just the drama. Like, I just didn't want to deal with the headache of it.
Yeah.
Mini Zoom has Rocket actually. So I think there's more of a bearish case than when we first initially got into it, but I just think it's just so undervalued.
Yeah.
And The good thing about it is that it's kind of playing out where it was. And so as I was looking at the trade that I forgot about, I was like, this could just rinse and repeat multiple times.
Yep.
This $20 level that it's at, I'm not in yet, but it is on my watch list now, and I will be getting into it most likely. But nothing's changing with the housing market. I mean, there are some bearish cases, but overwhelmingly, I think it's bullish, and the company is phenomenal. And I think that the rest of Wall Street will eventually catch up and will eventually figure out what a monster this company is.
The price here is an absolute joke for me. If it's going to remain here and they're going to treat this like a value stock, I would love for Rocket to have at the very least, have a regular dividend. You know, even if it was just like a quarterly dividend or whatever. You know, if this is just how it's going to be, especially being one of the largest mortgage companies in the world, in the country, then at least throw us a bone. Give us a dividend. They gave us that one special dividend, but I think it would make sense for them to give us consistent ones from this at this point.
Yeah, I'm just catching up on these comments. I appreciate the comments, guys. And Sean said, you got to do your own due diligence. You got to do your homework. Listen, you know, imagine explaining to your wife who Fat Man Zoom is and how you lost everything.
Because of
That's embarrassing. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
You should be like, wait, who told you that? Fat Man Zoom? You guys sound like a damn fool. I'm sorry.
She ain't throwing the frying pan at Fat Man Zoom. I can tell you that much.
Jeff Chow said, Rocket Man is Fat Man Zoom's side chick. He keeps it in an account not public to anyone. Now, this one's going in the public account. I want you all to see it. It's going to stay in there. You're going to see it. Let's talk about, Hector said, Fat Man Zoom called Asana like a prophet. I appreciate you saying that. Brad and I were both on Asana.
Bro, Asana, my God, that stock.
I think.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah. You know that was a Fat Man Zoom snack of the day, right? Last week?
Yeah. But I mean, we've liked it since the IPO, since it became public.
We have. And since I also pulled this up because I was surprised. Yeah, I've been throwing those Zoom snack of the days. And for you, those who are subscribers to the channel, every morning, not every morning, but in some mornings when I like some stocks and I'd like to do it more frequently, I throw out a quick short. It's a minute, and I tell you the one stock I feel good about. Usually it's a part of our watch list, and usually it's my highest conviction, so you guys are aware of that. But I went through the Zoom snacks, which for the first half of June, and I wish I had where I was right or I was wrong, because I'm going to tell you about what we picked. And if you guys, if this makes sense to you, I encourage you to like and subscribe, and really subscribe so you can get those Zoom snacks. Because we'll keep them coming. But, Brad, I don't know if you knew this, but June 2nd, Palantir. We were already up 25% on that, and I mentioned that, but it's up 9% since that day.
Yeah.
Palantir, we were looking for 30 is what we mentioned. I think the price target is still very realistic and maybe conservative. June 4th, Asana, we're up 53% since it was a Zoom snack. That was on earnings day. That was actually after earnings were announced the next morning, up 53%. Microsoft, when they got approved for Nuance, the AI company, that they were going to complete that acquisition, Microsoft's up 17%. I'm naming every Zoom stack. I'm not skipping ones we missed on.
Yeah.
Clover up down 15%. We warned of the rejection, but that was the day that it was like the peak 90% run or whatever.
Yeah.
The next day was a Zoom snack, but said it could get rejected. It was at 17%. It's down 15%. But could make that ground up potentially. Affirm, June 10th, up 4%. That was a Shopify partnership. Tesla's up 14%. It was on last week. If you remember, it was when Elon provided the roadmap to Bitcoin.
Yep.
And lastly, DraftKings, the Hindenburg news, it's up 5%. So only one is down, and one we only put there because it was on fire, and we had mentioned that. Watch out for the rejection.
Yep.
We're not going to always get these right, guys.
No.
But my point in that is that we try our best to bring these stocks to you, and that's only a taste of our watch list, which we send out free. 5 stocks we're watching for that day, every day before the market opens. If you guys are interested, go to the description, and you too can get that free watch list.
It's the first link in the description. You can't miss it.
Yeah, so I didn't know if you knew that, and I didn't look how they performed.
I did not see the track record of the Zoom snacks, but man, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible returns on those.
So I'm going to shut up for a second. We'll get to the Tesla talk. Actually, do you want to talk about how Tesla's doing towards close?
Well, actually, so it is. We do want to talk about Tesla even more in depth, but it also is Daniel Camarena Day.
FedEx earnings?
Yes, FedEx does have earnings as well. So we have about 8 minutes before the close.
Why don't we just wait till the close? Because we'll have time. We
For
can talk
Tesla?
about it. No, for FedEx.
For FedEx. Okay, let's just do that.
Because, I mean,
then.
the title says Tesla. We haven't
Of
even
course.
mentioned
Yeah,
it.
I know. We had to let people roll in. We got 156 of you guys in here already, so this is pretty awesome. Hit that like button, and let's go ahead and get to the main topic of today. We talked about Tesla yesterday when Fat Man Zoom was out, and I had mentioned about how people are really optimistic that the worst of the chip shortage is over, and we saw Tesla absolutely go apeshit over the last 3 days. Ford and GM have also done really well in response to that, but not as well as Tesla has. And I mentioned yesterday that, Elon Musk was talking about how the Model Y could be the #1 sold vehicle in the world by next year. We've talked about how Elon makes a lot of outlandish claims, but there has been very few that he hasn't been able to follow through with. So is anybody going to bet against him now that their chip shortage, the worst of it, could be behind us? Bro, I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, and how has it ended up right now, Tesla? Let's just have the chart up while we talk.
Yeah, so right now, Tesla was almost to $700 a share. We've talked about this at length about how Tesla came up to that 610 resistance. And that, as this was coming down, we even followed it coming down. And I had mentioned that 540 looked like a potential. It just barely bounced off of the 545 area and really hasn't looked back. It struggled at 610, finally broke through that, and just yesterday blasted right through that $630 mark, laughed at 650. Today it barely touched or almost got to 700. 699 is where it got to, and it is looking awesome today. It's pulled back a little bit towards the end of the day here, but man, $700 could be knocking on the door here for Tesla. Sorry, 697.62 was the high of the day.
Yeah, 700 would be great. So the Tesla talk. So let's talk a few things about Tesla. And I want to start where you just mentioned, which is Tesla being the #1 car in the world. Can Tesla become the #1 car in the world? And let's look back at
the Model Y, not just Tesla.
The Model Y be the #1 car in the world.
Yeah.
In the world. And let's just make sure we go back to the comments, which I believe Elon made in April. He said that it likely could be it could be the #1 car in the world potentially this year, but he mentioned 2022.
Yeah.
So I don't think it will happen, but it is very possible, and I do think 2023 is very likely.
Okay.
There are a couple concerns around that, and just so you guys are aware, the #1 car in the world is the Toyota Corolla.
Yes.
You mentioned the pickup, which is the #1 car in the U.S.
U.S., yeah.
And so I'll get there, buddy.
Sorry. No, because I said world, I think, yesterday for the F-150. I might have said that.
I don't think you did.
Okay.
Okay. So I think you just said, do you think it could sell more than the F-150?
I got you. Okay.
So the way it would beat that is to, I think the price is the consideration with that. And I think this is the problem where it may not happen. You look at the price, and the Model Y is about $40K.
Yeah.
And you look at a Toyota Corolla, and it's like $25K.
Right.
Now, the thing, though, with cars, and I think is understated with Tesla, Tesla gives you everything in the base model. I mean, you can get more, but what it gets is so much more than if you look in comparison to like a Toyota Corolla where they give you bare bones and then you got to add.
Yeah, there's like two options. There's like performance mode and full self-driving, and then it's like an extra 12 grand for that.
So looking at that, you got to remember, like, logically you'd be like, well, it costs double. It doesn't, because if you compare apples to apples, it still costs more for a Tesla, but value is far more. Like received value is far more. My only concern with that is, remember he mentioned that that car that was like, they didn't name it yet, but it was like a $20,000 car or a $30,000 car?
Yeah, 25, I believe.
$25,000 car. That's interesting. Like, is that going to be, are you saying that's going to be an offshoot? A $25,000 car should be the #1 car in the world based on what we know about Tesla's track record.
Yeah.
Capacity is another issue. However, to your point, they talked about, Elon said the next 2 years could be 50% growth with the Model Y, and this year would be more than that. So let's just say 100% growth. Model Y and Model 3, the trouble is they don't break out those numbers, but it's at like 200K for the year.
Yeah.
So you're talking about, let's say 300K, then you got 450, then you could get to $1 million. For them to be the number one car in the $1 million, yeah, they've got to get over that number. It's going to be tough, very possible. Eventually, I do believe they will be the number one car in the world, which bodes well for any shareholders.
Yeah. Don Francho in the house just said, Brad, there's really not two options. It's performance mode only. Yeah.
The other thing I want to talk about that's more important to this conversation is Tesla Q2 delivery and production numbers. I'm excited about this. And we'll rewind to a conversation we had on the live stream, warning about what are the catalysts, what are going on. China numbers. I think people were a little bit bearish on Tesla because China shit the bed, or Tesla shit the bed in China for delivery. Yeah. It was May, right? Wasn't it May?
Yep.
And so I, at the time, said, listen, we look for these opportunities on our channel, and I felt good about adding to Tesla at that point. And these are the other things we talk about. We talk about the red zone. Tesla was certainly in the red zone, and it's hard to, I understand it's hard to add in these parts, but understanding your belief in the stock, the sentiment behind the stock, and knowing just the track record of a company. Listen, Tesla could be back at 550 next week. I'm not saying that, but they've pretty much pitched a perfect game up until this point. May numbers come out. I thought that was a good opportunity that they would right the ship. And delivery production numbers for Tesla come out next week. Analysts are already saying it's going to be a record-breaking quarter. So if that does happen, I think the move is happening now for those numbers. The fact that they beat, I think it's going to be too late for the stock next week.
What about the drop in Bitcoin?
That was actually the third topic.
Okay.
So so set it up. Explain to people the situation with Bitcoin.
So with Bitcoin, last quarter, a lot of people argued that the fact that Tesla even came in and met expectations as far as earnings were concerned was because of the amount that they leveraged in Bitcoin. Bitcoin went up crazy after they had bought into it, and that's one big reason why their balance sheet looked as good as it did.
Yeah.
This time around might be a little bit of a different story, as Bitcoin has dropped by more than 50% since its highs. I don't remember what the average cost for Tesla was as far as Bitcoin's concerned, but either way, it's going to be a significant drop in value in Bitcoin from where it was when they reported last quarter.
That would imply that they're going to sell Bitcoin, which I don't anticipate they're going to sell their Bitcoin stake.
Correct, but I'm just saying as far as what they have on the books, assets is going to be lower from the Bitcoin side than it was in the previous quarter.
I could be wrong, but I don't think it would matter, because the reason why it mattered last quarter
because they sold.
So it showed up on their P&L. And so the argument for that was, well, you can't always bank on Bitcoin. Like, you can't always sell Bitcoin to basically fluff up your balance sheet.
Right.
Or your P&L statement or whatever you're looking at. So don't get me wrong, it shows up on your balance sheet, but we're talking about profitability, and what it seems like, I think both of us agree, is they sold Bitcoin to boost up the income numbers, so the cash flow looked better than potentially it was.
Yes.
They could say that we sold because they made a ton of money and they just flipped it. It's anybody's guess. But with that being said, I think that people are overdoing the Bitcoin conversation as it pertains to Tesla.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. I was just trying to play devil's advocate and be like, hey, remember that was a big thing back in the last quarter. So wanted to make sure that we were chatting about that too.
Yeah, I mean, it's simply tied to Bitcoin. And so that could, to me, anytime it gets impacted by Bitcoin, let's say Bitcoin has a flash crash, I'm scooping up Tesla.
Yeah.
It's like, to me, it's an easy opportunity. So delivery numbers, guys, next week are going to be important. I think there's going to be a push into that. I don't anticipate, I think we're going to have a sense like 190,000 deliveries, I think would be on the high end of that. I don't think the stock moves off the delivery numbers because I think it's going to be priced in.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything that you said. I just wanted to make sure, because I'm sure there's going to be people that ask that question too. So I'm glad we were able to address that.
Yeah, for sure.
So we have some earnings that are coming out here now that the market is closed. Nike is already starting to move. I think Nike might have their earnings that are out right now. We have FedEx, BlackBerry, and Nike. It's Daniel Camarena today. Daniel, I hope you're watching, bro. We have earnings here this afternoon with FedEx. If you guys are joining us for the first time, we have a resident viewer who watches us every single day. It's Daniel Camarena. He works for FedEx. He's always watching from that FedEx warehouse.
What's up, man?
We appreciate you, brother.
What's up, peeps? I don't think was he in here today? I haven't seen him yet.
I thought I saw him earlier, yeah.
All right, I'm going to Twitter land, seeing what's going on.
So I'll go ahead and bring the chart up, and we'll watch some of these earnings. FedEx is flat right now after hours. Nike's getting some volume here, so I don't know if earnings are for sure out just yet, but it's certainly acting like it is.
No earnings yet from Nike.
Okay.
FedEx actually should be first. I don't think BlackBerry's going to come while we're live, which
that wouldn't surprise me
about that.
Don Front's putting some good nuggets out there, guys. Make sure you're checking them out in the chat. Rudy says yes, he's in here live from the FedEx warehouse.
Nice.
I love it, man.
Don's confident. This is the earning movement. Well, maybe.
All right.
You could be right or you could be wrong. That's the great thing about this thing.
It could go up or it could go down. All right.
Also, I don't know how we would say it's the earnings movement because we're a month away from earnings.
Is it still a month?
Yeah, Tesla's not having earnings anytime soon.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like first week of July.
No, it's mid-July.
Okay.
I find it highly unlikely, but if you think that, cool.
Who knows?
We do for sure have delivery numbers next week, though.
I do want to point out, for those of you, while we're waiting, for those of you who were in the Wish trade with me, as we were talking about Tesla, it went absolutely apeshit. And now it's at 1456 and climbing. After we ended up adding to the intraday dip at 1295, you guys know that my first initial entry was at 1109, and this is still ripping. So congrats to those of you in the Chaos crew. Again, links are in the description if you want to be a part of the crew. Holy shit. That is awesome. Hell yes. All right. FedEx is dropping now right now after hours. It's down around 2%. Hell yeah, Rudy. Daniel Camarena is on break. Daniel, you don't want to look right now.
All right, so we got the numbers.
Here we go. For FedEx?
Yeah,
Okay.
so they slight beat. Earnings per share estimates were $4.99. They came in at $5.01. Sales, they did beat. Estimates were 21.51. Sales were 22.6.
All right. I can't remember. What did I say my estimate was on FedEx? I said 526. Boy, I was a penny off. Did you catch that yesterday? I was a penny off of KBH. That sucks. Almost got it. So yes. So FedEx came in and beat. Looks like they beat on everything so far. So we'll see. But I guess they barely beat. I guess investors may have been expecting a little bit more. Honestly, though, those are great numbers.
I don't know, man. I like 501, 499. I don't even think that's a beat. I think that's a meet. And I feel like we're in a climate right now where you need to beat.
That's true. I just feel
saying?
like FedEx has just been on a crazy freight train ride for 12 to 15 months.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that, to your point, we've said this time and time again, it's really about the guidance and the outlook.
Yeah,
and
I want to
it's
see
going to be
that.
hard to keep pace with what they've been doing.
I agree. Let's pull out to the 4 hour. It's coming back to break down through this trend, I'm sure. Yeah, so pulled it out to the 4 hour chart, guys, if you can see this. So I have this trend marked here, and it barely dipped out of this last week when the rest of the market kind of fell out of favor. And then now it is starting to break through that trend yet again. Maybe a bit of a struggle for FedEx if it can't come back into this trend here, but right now it's down around 2.5–3% after hours. It's a little bit all over the place, so we'll see where this is. But yeah, Jeff Panicka asks about guidance, and we don't have that just yet. A lot of this stuff comes out in waves, so we'll see. As soon as we know something, we'll certainly let you know. But so far, right now, FedEx and Nike, BlackBerry, they all have earnings coming out. FedEx just reported, and investors aren't having a good time with it at the moment.
Yeah, two things I'm seeing, and bear in mind, people, this is Twitter, so take it with a grain of salt. Slight squeeze on operating margin, so that also could be at play here.
Yeah.
They thought estimates for operating margin were 8.9%. It came in at 8.7%, so it wasn't as good as they thought. So,
yeah,
we always talk about decreasing margins, and then guidance looks fine. Something about unable to forecast fiscal 2022 accounting adjustments. I don't know what that means, but
interesting. Okay,
we'll see.
Yeah, this just goes to show, guys. I like what Jay says. Just because they beat earnings doesn't mean it has to go up. That guidance is everything. The guidance is really what matters the most in many cases. So, and we've seen a lot of cases in which companies would miss earnings but still go up because their outlook is really good, or they're looking forward to something in the future. We always talk about the stock market being a forward-thinking vessel,
yep.
And so if FedEx is coming out with perhaps guidance that isn't what people were hoping for, investors were hoping for, that could be why we're seeing a little bit of selling pressure here after hours.
Yeah, for sure. There goes the bonus. I had a couple comments earlier that I put down that I wanted to bring up. So there's some stocks entering into the Russell 3000. I believe it's next week.
Yeah.
And so we'll bring that to Stockwatch Sunday, guys. If you're unfamiliar with Stockwatch Sunday, that's sort of our flagship live stream. We do it every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We look at the market upcoming, and we talk about 5 stocks that we're watching for that week. And the 2 big topics I anticipate us having is the infrastructure bill and stocks we're looking at. We've talked about stocks we've been looking at, but we're going to dig into that and sort of give our thoughts on that. And then beyond that, I want to talk about stocks that are going in the Russell, because there's very interesting stocks that are going in there and what we think could potentially impact, if there is any impact on it. But we're going to talk about Palantir, Fubo TV, Snowflake, among the stocks that have been popular names that will be in there. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Clover is one of those as well. I got to look.
I was going to say, I thought Clover was in there, and I thought Wish might have been in there too. I'm not sure. We'd definitely have to double check all of that. Daniel Cameron says FedEx wants to go green. They want to make their cardboard boxes out of recyclables and, of course, electric vehicles. Yeah, for sure, Daniel.
Jeppy, what is your highest conviction stock right now with huge upside? No, I'm not taking the bait.
You ask me that every Sunday now.
I know. But you're not looking to, I'm not looking to holy cow. I know, Jeppy, I can sense it in the name. 3 months from now, you're going to yell at me when you're living out of a cardboard box and you say, you told me this was going to go up. Not buying it, Jeppy.
Sean says CNBC said guidance for FedEx in 2022 was raised, but probably dropping due to earnings being priced in already. That could very well be it too. I mean, we come back out here and look at the daily, and it's just been ripping ever since 234. And honestly, you look at over the last 12 months, we come out to the monthly chart, and it's just done extremely well. I mean, look at this. From the crash on up, it's just continuing to rip. It came all the way down to $88 at the low of the markets in 2020 and is now up, 200% from there. So, but I will say though, and this is just my own personal feelings about when stocks do this, that this, in my opinion, could be a really good opportunity. If FedEx came in and they met expectations and they're raising guidance for 2022, I think this is still going to be a really good opportunity. I mean, FedEx, UPS, pretty much a duopoly. And as we're talking about e-commerce continuing to grow and that things like that becoming habit after the pandemic, I think that FedEx and UPS could continue to do really, really well, especially in 2022. I will say the one caveat to this, Fat Man Zoom. Do you know what I'm about to say? What's going to derail FedEx and UPS?
Amazon?
Yes. Amazon
Ooh, I got it right.
Amazon could absolutely wreck the shipping industry if they wanted to. I think it probably could be in the works.
Yeah. Shout out to Juan Pablo for that question. Speaking of earnings, Nike, I know we'll look at that in a second. I'm telling you right now, I kind of wanted to get in before earnings. I'm not in, people. But if this thing has a FedEx-like move to the down, I'm in on Nike.
Yeah.
I don't care. Doesn't even matter what they say. I'm going to be in on Nike.
Yeah.
Another question just want to throw out, because I think this is pertinent, especially with the infrastructure deal. Dan Dalton says, I'm feeling the need to trim again. Been holding and adding to tech and growth for months. When do I trim, Chaos Dudes? I don't know when you trim, but I am experiencing that same problem. In level 3 this morning, my song was Closing Time, and maybe we'll do it Sunday, maybe we'll do it next week. But there's a couple stocks that I want to set some liberal take profits, but it's time for me to set a stop just because I'm up over 30% on them and I feel like it's good. The problem is that some of them are with the infrastructure deal, so we'll see. But listen, there's no wrong time to trim for me if I'm green. And so that's the one thing I'm trying to balance is I got to look at supports and resistances. I got to trust the technical analysis. And, if I still feel confident about it, I'll leave a little bit on the table. I'll leave a starter position, half position, whatever. But if I'm up 30% on a stock over the course of a couple months, that's when I'm starting to think about, okay, let me lock in. And where I'm at, Charge Point, Palantir, I'm up over 30% on both of them. Drive Shack, Clover, I've already taken my Clover, I've already taken my Drive Shack, but I need to think about Palantir and Charge Point. And if I can, I'm not going to, it'll be a loss if I take less than 20% on it. So I need to make sure that I know, okay, the minimum, whatever that number is, if it's at 35%, I at least lock in 25%. So I need to think that in my account, I'm always trying to think, okay, where can I ensure that I'm getting those profits locked in?
You don't make money until you sell.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. And we always say that, taking profits never hurt anybody. BlackBerry's getting some movement here. I don't know if it's really anything to be excited about just yet, but it is up 0.5%. It looks as if there's some volume coming in. It could be nothing, but we're still waiting on earnings numbers from them as well as Nike. FedEx is now down 4%. If you guys are just joining us, first of all, welcome. Got 170 of you guys in here. Certainly appreciate you tuning in live. If you could hit that thumbs up while you're watching, we certainly would appreciate it. Would love to have the support. Nike is now moving here. It is up almost 3% after hours. And holy boner candle. There we go. Holy shit. This is not a surprise. And we talked about this on Stockwatch Sunday about how retail spending was going off the chain. And we talked about this trend here, right? We talked about this trend on Stockwatch Sunday about how Nike has been downtrending ever since their last quarterly earnings, and a lot of that had to do with supply chain issues in Europe because Europe is one of their biggest revenue streams. And so, we've seen how Europe has been improving and turning around, and that has become less and less of an issue for all retailers out that way that rely on European business. And so this seems to me, and we talked about in-store sales as well in the U.S., but Nike right now is up 3.5%, continuing to climb here after hours. Arfin has the numbers in here. It says quarterly earnings per share is at 93. They beat their 51-cent estimates, 12.3 billion, and beat revenue, earned sales, and they beat their 11.01 billion estimate.
Yeah, and they also gross margins increased. So we looked at FedEx where we saw some constricting of their operating margin. Nike's Q4 gross margin was actually up 2%, which is a lot. So 45.8% it came in at. When the estimates were at 43.8. That's huge, especially for a company that's been around as long as Nike has. And guys, my estimate, I predicted they would beat, and I said 61 cents. And I'm going to tell you, this 93 cents is a gigantic number.
Yeah.
The quarter that we're in is historically not a great quarter for Nike. And I would venture to say, I'm trying to recall the numbers, but as far as comparative quarters, this might be the best one they've had. So, like,
wow,
not the best quarter as a whole, but this Q1, I guess it would have been.
Yeah.
It might have actually been their Q4, but this time of year, I mean, they don't pull those kind of numbers. This was insane. So I'm sure that has to do something with it.
Arfin said that fourth quarter Greater China revenue up 17%. And man, there were some worries about the Chinese market, so maybe that could be influencing this too. That's a pretty big jump.
Yeah, I'm not sure what context of that is.
It's a jump across the board, though. I mean, we talked about this in athletic wear in general, the retail side of things. And I saw somebody asking about Under Armour, and we still love Under Armour. Definitely worth grabbing on the dips here on that company as well. But we talked about how demand was going to come back here in the sense of you have parents and that are going to have to go back out shopping for their kids, getting back into sports as the weather's warming up and things are reopening. It's just booming demand. I would really be curious to see like how the numbers have been increasing for youth, sales, that sort of thing. Like what are we looking at there? Because I think that's probably going to be where a huge amount of the revenue is coming from as well. Would not surprise me.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you talk about the lifetime value of a customer. That's why all these companies, Snapchat, we're looking at you.
Yeah.
They have huge movement is because, or analysts are bullish on them, is when you can control that younger demographic. And if Nike's a lifelong brand with you, that's great lifetime value for a company.
Yeah, see, somebody said nobody loves Under Armour as much as The Rock. That is not true. Actually, Don Frine loves Under Armour just as much as The Rock because every time I see him, that's all he's wearing is Rock gear. But Nike is up 4.5%. It is still climbing here, man. What an incredible move for them. To me, I would say that this means that they could potentially be they obviously are reversing the trend here currently as we speak, but I think that this is definitely going to be the spark that turns them around. Again, we come back out to the 4-hour chart, as I was showing you earlier, and what we talked about on Stockwatch Sunday, that this is something that, it's been trending down since last quarter, and I think that we wake up tomorrow and we could see a very clear reversal. This could be up closer to the 150 mark, Fat Man Zoom, and it would not surprise me one bit to see it there.
Okay, cool. That sounds good.
BlackBerry is up 1.5%. That was another one that was reporting earnings here. Let's see what we got. Doesn't look like there's any kind of crazy increased volume. Maybe a little bit, but shoot, man. Maybe there's some earnings. I don't know. We might be waiting a while for BlackBerry, and that might come out after we sign off. But man, pretty great day for Nike. And FedEx is still down 4%. We'll see what this looks like tomorrow. But, don't lose faith in FedEx. I think that if it holds the trend that we've been talking about, and actually I'll come back out to the 4-hour. If this actually somehow hops back into this trend, which we saw it come back into that leading up to these earnings, then I think you're still going to be in really great shape. It's held really well into this ascending channel here. And I think that, the numbers were good enough to have it maintain in this channel. I don't think that we see any kind of crazy drop off of FedEx. Obviously, I could be wrong, but to me, I think we're going to be just fine there. Nike's still climbing, bro. Still going.
Can't say it's surprise.
No, me either. But it's still awesome to see.
Yeah. I mean, it's been lagging, and when you talk about a market leader lagging, it doesn't take a lot. And this is legitimately great numbers. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be on its way. This is just a great company. It belongs in everybody's long-term investment account.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Bro, I think that's going to be it. Man, it was good to have you back, man.
Yeah, good to be back. So, guys, that's it for this week. Stockwatch Sunday, this Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We got some good conversations to be had. We also got some good content coming up. So make sure you click the notification bell because we got some ideas for some new content that's coming down the pipeline. Brad might critique my account, my public account, which just hit a milestone.
Yeah.
Hit 10K, which was cool. It started with 5K. That's a public account. And then some other fun stuff that we'll save for later. But make sure you guys click the notification bell so you know when we go live, which is every Monday through Thursday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And that's Stockwatch Sunday, 7:30.
That's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. We certainly appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out the door. And we will see you guys on Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Great show, my man.
Yeah, man.
I quit this bitch.
The Rock does steroids.